Trying to make it in today's travel industry is a lot like Indiana Jones searching for the Holy Grail. At every turn, at every step, there seems to be another obstacle. We must take that leap of faith and move forward. One more Kodak moment there. Good morning. I always like to start my programs off with a few quotes. So here's my first one. In order to lead the orchestra, we must turn our back on the crowd. That is to say that we must do things differently today in our business environment. Things have changed in the world. It's not the same old, same old. In fact, things are changing so fast that we have to be able to respond, and adjust to those things on a very fast basis. My second quote is, in order to miss a great opportunity, all you have to do is do nothing with the idea. We need to be passionate about what we're doing today. We need to move forward in spite of circumstances and obstacles that may be in our path. And my last quote is this: instinct is the nose of the mind. We have to be very aware of what's going on around us. I also like to frame my talks oftentimes with some material that's going on in our marketplace, but more importantly, where we are as individuals. And I'm going to open with a short piece from a book called Miracle in the Andes. And some of you may recall, back in 1972, there's a few of you that were probably around during that time. 1972, there was a plane crash in the Andes with a group of rugby players. And they were in the Andes for over 72 days. Many people perished in it, but there were a number of survivors. This is from the epilogue to the story. Each year, for the last 40 years, the survivor of the Andes disaster gathered together with their families on December 22nd to commemorate the day that they were rescued from the mountain. We celebrate this date as our common birth date because on that day, all of us were reborn. But it was more than life that each of us were given as we came down from the mountain, with a new way of thinking, a deeper appreciation for the power of the human spirit, and a profound understanding of what a wonder it is for any of us to be alive. The ability to be truly alive and aware and savor each moment of life with presence and gratitude. This is the gift that the Andes gave us. See, we have to be passionate. It's more than just people traveling. It's more than business. It's about how we feel. It's about what we are doing in our lives. Each of us has that opportunity. Picture this. A young man walks into a room seated with bankers around a table. He walks right up to them, looks them square in the eye, and says, I'm going to build a $1 billion empire based upon a mouse, a fairy, and 7 dwarfs. Now, can you imagine the reaction of those bankers? It certainly would have been a jovial one. But you see, we know the end of the story. We know that we're talking about Walt Disney. What we may not stop to realize is, right here in this room this morning, there could be a Walt Disney story. Right here in this room, there could be someone with that idea, with that nugget, with that opportunity, given the passion to move it forward. See, what we don't think about sometimes is the end result of the story, because we know that in the case of the Walt Disney story, is that we didn't realize what it took for Walt to walk up to those bankers seated around the table and make that declaration. It took passion. It took belief. In fact, belief is one of the key elements of that. You have to believe in what is it you're doing. In fact, let me hear you say, I believe. Oh, come on, you can do better than that, particularly a faith-based group. Come on, I believe. One more time, I believe. You've got to believe in the products and services that you have. You've got to believe in what it is that you're doing and bringing to the activities that you're doing within the travel industry. See, Walt had to risk looking the fool to make his ideas come true. But we have to do that on a daily basis ourselves, because it is that belief that is empowering. See, passion moves people to action. Passion causes people to do things. Passion gets people excited. In fact, a part of passion could be described as enthusiasm. And what is enthusiasm? But the Greek definition is with the hand of God. I mean, you couldn't get more powerful or passionate than that. Passion, excitement, belief. Now, I have to tell you, I'm passionate about a few things. My wife's with me here this morning. We work together in business. I started out many years ago. I had an ego. I now have a we-go. You can explain that later. Okay. Passion about many things I have. And one of them is business cards. A simple business card is one of the easiest and most dramatic ways that you can connect and keep people going. And if some of you are doing groups, where many of you I know are involved in groups, and I've been in the travel industry over 41 years. When I started in this business, the Dead Sea was just sick. I've been in this business so long. But we do, and afterwards you can stop up and see this, we actually do a business card for each group. Not a travel business card, not my personal business card. Again, not the agency business card. This is a card just for the group. That's why when I'm out marketing, that's what I have. Now, I have to tell you, I believe that business cards are so important. They're the closest thing to me. I am never without a business card, ever. Ever. You see, this is all about branding. This is about, here comes the Kodak moment again. This is about the opportunities that you have to be able to connect and stay connected with your people that you're working with, your prospects, your clients, your group leaders, your people that are going on your events. I have to share a little story with you. Many years ago, I was swimming in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That's off the coast of Kaanapali Beach in Maui, isn't it? Isn't that the middle of the Pacific Ocean? Swimming there, getting my morning laps. There was a lady getting her morning laps in. And at some point, we stopped to tread water, and I probably started the conversation. Some of you will get that a little later. Within a few minutes, this lady said to me, "You know, you're interesting." What she really wanted to say was, "You're bizarre." But she said, "You're interesting, and when we go back to shore, I want to exchange business cards because I want to keep in touch with you." And I said, "That's great, I can do that right now." And I reached down on my bathing suit and pulled out one of my laminated business cards that I am never without. You never know when you're going to fall into a body of water. Now, that woman has been altered psychographically. She can never get the guy who gave her a business card in the middle of the Pacific Ocean out of her mind, ever. You talk about branding for the price of a business card that's laminated. Now, I've used this in so many situations. I'm not going to take you into that, but I can tell you business gets booked from that. That's passion. That's belief. That's empowering. You have to have the belief that says you can do it. I wrote a book back a few years ago, now in third printing. And in the process of writing the book, it came about as I was working on a book, and I don't have time to go into the whole story here, but it came out of a cancer diagnosis with Martha, and we got really involved in the cancer community, wanted to raise money, and thank God she's doing well today, 16 years now in remission. But the key is to be able to utilize things that we have going on around us. So I use cycling as a metaphor, and I began to put some of the things into action that I was doing. Now, I have to tell you, I had to have a lot of belief in what I was doing because Martha signed me up to ride 100 miles around Lake Tahoe on a bicycle to raise money for cancer research. Now, I have some problems with this. The first problem is I don't own a bicycle. The second problem is I'd never ridden a bicycle more than a few blocks in my entire life. And Lake Tahoe was a daunting, hilly climb. But I committed to do it, and then I got a coach. And I say that because coaches are important. If you need to move your business ahead and you're stuck, or you need a little extra oomph, look to a coach. You want to win in sports? How do you do it? The Olympics are going on. How do they do it? They get a coach. Want to win in business? Get a coach. So I got a coach in cycling and a team. And now I'm committed. Now, it wasn't always easy, and I won't paint that picture for you. It was tough, and I had to do some very big hill climbs and the rest of that. But the point is, I was able to do it because I followed a plan, and the first one was belief. I had to believe that I could actually ride that 100 miles. You have to believe that you can actually assemble a group you want to assemble and that you can go and do the trip that you want to do. You have to believe in that. I filled whole cruise ships, chartered cruise ships early on in my career. And I had a lady, and one of them was for 4 years, we did it 852 passengers. People say, how do you remember those numbers, Keith? Listen, you take 852 people any place and you'll never forget it. I mean, I love people, but groups are a lot of work. And you got to have your ducks all lined up. And then this woman said to me, when I talked about those numbers, 852, she says, did you ever think you wouldn't fill it? I said, no, you're thinking the wrong thought. It's not on not filling it, it's on filling it. So when you're working with your business, when you're working with your group leaders, when you're working with your churches and your other faith-based community, you got to have the right focus, belief and focus. And then you've got to have consistency. Consistency pays off. Little things do matter. Success is in the details. It's those little tiny things that are going to make your event blossom. And the opportunities are all around you. You know, I read an article recently that 92% of the American-based ministers and pastors have never been to the Holy Land. Is that number not phenomenal? What that says to me is you've got a huge opportunity out there. So don't think small. Think large. Think big. I have 3 E's that I like to share, and they're in my book. There are actually 12 of them. And the first E is energy. People can feel your energy. You have got to be more energetic than the people you're working with. You can't be downtrodden today. See, passion is what that's all about. Now, I do a lot of things in sales, and I sometimes kid, but really on the square. You want to get really good salespeople, get door-to-door evangelists. Hello? I know you're in there. You know, they got fire in their belly. They got passion in their eyes. They're not afraid of the no. They're not afraid of the I'm not interested. They're not afraid of they're just not afraid. I've been selling since I was 12, and there was a commercial out a few years ago about a young little boy knocking on a door dressed in a little Undertaker suit, you know, and he says to the lady, I know you're in there. That was me. I used to sell door-to-door products, and I did top sales, but I didn't give up. You have to be somewhere between persistent and a pest, and it is a fine line. One of the other E's is endurance, and I particularly like this one, not just because of the cycling metaphor, but endurance. I have a few hats here. Here's one of my hats. It says, I'm their leader. Which way did they go? You know, a double-brimmed cap. But some of us walk around like this. We're supposed to be leaders in our home, in our church, in our community, in our business. But we walk around like this. I'm their leader. Which way did they go? We can't be that way. You've got to be focused. Endurance. I wrote a book, as I mentioned, and the book title has this in it, 2468. It's not 2468 Who We Appreciate. It was actually at a point in my writing after I did the 100 miles, and when I got to the 100-mile ride coming down Lake Tahoe, I realized not only had I raised thousands of dollars for cancer research, and my team raised even more thousands of dollars. My team alone raised over $100,000. Collectively, we raised about $8 million on that one ride. So we had a transformation. Biblical transformation. But I had a transformation there too, because I had realized that to get to the 100 miles, I had ridden over 1,500 miles. The goal was 100. But But I didn't realize I had ridden 1,500 miles in my training, in my coaching, in my teamwork. And then it got to the point where it was 2,468 miles. And that's what I decided to use when I was working on the book. But then it went to 10,000 miles. And then it went to 15,000 miles. And as I stand here today, my cycle reads the odometer as of day before yesterday on my last ride since I've been here, 21,770 miles on a bicycle seat, raising money for cancer research for someone who was in his 50s and didn't own a bicycle. But you see, it's those same things that are going to help you in your business. So you have the E of energy and you have the E of endurance. But endurance is an interesting word because we often think of the word endurance as meaning to put up with, endure. Even that, endure. I'm enduring this. I'm enduring this job. I'm enduring this economy. I'm enduring. But there's another definition to the word endurance, the one that I like, which is to move forward in spite of your current circumstances. Move forward in spite of your current circumstances. And then, of the 12 E's, the third one that I'm going to share with you today, and one of the more important ones, because you can have belief, you can have endurance, but at some point you have to execute. Hopefully not the people around you. No, I'm just kidding. But you have to execute. In other words, and there is some of that. Sometimes you get people in your way and you just have to move beyond them. You have to say, I understand. You don't believe in me. You know, I got to believe that there were people that didn't believe in Walt Disney's dream. You just got to believe it. But what did he do? Bye-bye, and moved on. So don't let somebody be your stumbling block. Just step around them and move on. But you must execute, because here's the critical part. I have people that say to me, and I do some coaching, and I do obviously a lot of speaking, but people come and say, you know, Keith, I'm waiting for the perfect time to formulate this group. I'm waiting for the perfect time to go into this business. I'm waiting for the perfect time. And my answer to them is, and my response is, get into waiting. Because there will never be a perfect time. Sure, timing is important. We hear that. But you know what? It's less so today than ever. Because we're moving so fast. Some people say, I thought of that. And he's doing it. Yeah. Because you didn't execute. You didn't step out of your comfort zone. You know, we often talk about people, and I say you've got to be willing to step outside the box. And all too often, we're stuck in the box. And we think that stepping outside the box is, you know, I'm stepping outside the box, and then we do this step here. I'm thinking outside the box. This isn't stepping outside the box. Stepping outside the box is, that moment that takes your breath away. That moment when a fleeting thought rushes through your head and said, what would my family think of that idea? What would my associates think of that idea? What would my friends think of that idea? What would my colleagues think of that idea? That's the idea that you need to not necessarily follow initially, but do your due diligence on. Do your prep work, do your homework, see if it's got legs to stand. But be willing to risk looking the fool to make that idea and dream come true. See, that's passion. That's what we're talking about here with the power of passion. Now, there are a few problems that we have along the way, and I'm going to share one of them with you. And it's called the engagement challenge. The engagement challenge is this. The average adult in 2012 had an attention span of 12 seconds. In 2014, that attention span has dropped to 7 seconds. Oh my gosh. I have got to be able to engage with you in 7 seconds, or I'm not even listening. This is not about selling at this point. This is about building a relationship. This is about opening a door. This is about being passionate. This is about being engaging. This is about making a connection where people can see you. But it gets more interesting than that. So currently we're at 7 seconds for an adult. Interestingly enough, a goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds. Now, I got to tell you, I really wanted to have done that research on that goldfish. Somebody probably paid a lot of money to do that research. Next time you look at a goldfish in a bowl, you say, hey, well, you got more attention span than my friend over there, you know. But we only have a few short minutes, seconds, in which to connect with people. That elevator speech has gone out the window. You know, we don't have that time. Everybody's playing with their smartphones and tablets and everything, and smartphones are misnomered because they are smarter than I am. No. You need to take control of that. It's good stuff, but we can't be so controlled by it. It can't be the one controlling us. We have to control it, so turn your phones off once in a while and walk away and do things that are different. Utilize them as a tool, not as an addiction to blocking out what else is around you. I've been in elevators where people miss their floors because they're like this. They didn't even know that a celebrity was standing next to them. No, it wasn't me. They don't even know. They don't even know what's going on many times because of that focus. So that connectivity, people are spending hours and hours. So what happens is, when I come up to you, Dan, I actually have to do more than a screen. I have to pull you in some way quickly in those 7 seconds to hopefully build a little longer conversation. Now, if you happen to be with me, I can tell you how to improve and make a longer elevator speech. Anybody want to know? Yeah, pull the stop button. Now, ask my wife. I've done that. I'm telling you, people will, first of all, they'll reach for their wallet and their purse, and then they'll kind of look at you, but it'll get their attention. No, the key is you've got to be able to connect. You've got to be able to connect today. There are some questions that are in my book in one of the sections that I want to share with you that talks about what we need to look at every day when we're looking at what we're doing in our lives. And so often today, we can get distracted. So the first one is this. Every day, I want to ask myself these questions. Can I make a small improvement in my environment today? That's my world, my environment. Can I make a small improvement? Small, but an improvement. Can I make a small improvement in someone else's life today? Wow. Can I send a customer away feeling that this was the best customer service experience that they have ever had? See, a good experience is not great enough today. It has to be a wow experience. It has to be an experience that says, wow. A good customer experience today means your customer is as good as gone to the next special deal or offer or whatever may be happening out in the marketplace. You have to have those wow customers, and we have them. People that say, this was a lifetime experience. This was a world-changing experience. We just had that on one of our trips that Colette produced. I'll give them a pitch. You can buy me coffee later, Dave, I know where you are. Can I be passionate in spite of current circumstances? And can I move someone to action because of my passion and my commitment? I want to share one other thing as I get towards the close of this, and it deals with the idea of the power of adversity. And we don't often think of adversity being a power, but I wrote this. It says, when we think of adversity, we usually think of it as a negative, but that's a choice we make. We can just as easily look at adversity as an opportunity to overcome obstacles, to challenge ourselves, to work in new and different ways. Adversity makes us focus on what's important and allows us to do things we thought were impossible when life was a little easier. I want to close with a couple of thoughts. And I'm going to mention, this is my little commercial here. I do have some books available. I mentioned they were in third printing. You want to see it go to fourth printing? Buy a copy. but they are available up here. If you're interested, I have taken an extra $5 off today as a benefit to you attending this wonderful conference. I also have a few group CDs, how to do groups. There's 2 CDs and one on fundraising that I did, all for the travel industry, and I also special priced those and took quite a bit off of those as well. And if some of you happen to need a coach, I am available. I coach people all over the country, sometimes in person, sometimes on the phone, and we set it up. It is one-on-one. It's not a group setting, and I am doing a BOGO on that today. Ladies in the room know what this is. I don't know if guys always follow that. BOGO, buy one, get one. So I don't do hours anymore typically because it can really book up. But again, for the conference here, I decided to go ahead and do it. So I'm doing single hour, so you can buy a single hour. You don't have to buy a retainer or a package. Buy a single hour, and if you buy that today, I will double it. So you get 2 hours for the price of one. So see Martha afterwards up here if you're interested in that, and I'll be around. And I'm going to wrap up my presentation with these 2 final closing thoughts. So here's the first one. Some of you sitting in this room have said, I like what he said, but it's kind of impossible in my situation. What is your name? Tammy. Tammy, I'm going to ask you to look up the word impossible. See, I'm big on definitions, and I want a definition of a word like impossible because it makes your feet feel like it's stuck in cement. It makes you feel like you can't move forward. It is absolutely not empowering. Did you find it? What? It's missing. Oh, okay, she doesn't have her glasses. Well, let me help you out here. It's missing, it's been cut out, and I wouldn't own a dictionary with the word impossible in it, whether it's Hucano in Japanese or imposible in Spanish, because we don't live in an impossible time. This is the greatest time to be alive in the history of the world. This is the greatest time to be in business endeavors in the history of the universe. And particularly in industries where you are doing it solo, or like entrepreneuring, but really micropreneuring, which is just me. So these are the times. The technology is there. The capabilities are there. Everything's ready, waiting for you to have the power of passion. For you to have the power of belief, for you to have the power of consistency, and to put that consistency in focus so you can achieve what it is you want to achieve in each and every one of your lives. So I'm going to close with this. It's something I wrote not long ago. It's entitled, What Have You Done? What have you done with the talents you've been given? Have you hidden them, or have you improved upon them? Have you abused them? Have you shared them with others and in so doing grown yourself? Have you taken advantages of all the opportunities around you? Have you made a commitment to succeed regardless of your current circumstance or obstacle? Or have you neglected your true talents by acting out of fear instead of faith, becoming discouraged instead of encouraged, not recognizing the greatness, the uniqueness that is in each and every one of us in this room today? So when the day, week, year, lifetime is over, what will you say? What will you say? What will you say when asked, what have you done? Thank you very much. Have a wonderful conference.